I want to tuck your necklace inside your shirt. I'll grab it.
Okay.
There you go.
Hi, sweetheart. Hi.
So Dash is 8, 9 months old.
Uh-huh.
Dash is a two-fingered sloth, also called two-toed sloths. So differences between two-fingered and three-fingered. They all have 3 fingers on the back feet, three toes on the back feet. Three-toed have 3 on the front feet. Two-toed have 2 on the front feet. And beyond that, three-toed have a much longer neck, so they will turn their head 270 around like an owl. And two-fingered have a shorter neck, but more vertebrae between hips and shoulders. So they can turn until, if this is shoulders and this is hips, they can turn until their hips and shoulders are facing directly the opposite direction, one from the other.
Hi, sweetie.
And he is probably ready for his breakfast.
Oh,
He just woke up.
Oh. So now I've heard when I was in Costa Rica, there was a guy, he said they can actually go faster when they want to.
Yeah, they do.
Climb up trees to get there.
When I open the big guy's door in the morning and say, "Hey, Flash," he comes from, he's 25 feet up there, and he'll be down the tree, through the door, and out here in 30 seconds. So that'll be maybe 40 feet per minute. But I think most of the things that you read online are talking about speed over distance instead of sprint speed.
Oh, is that good?
They're not by any stretch of the imagination fast animals.
Yeah.
They are still the slowest mammals on Earth, both two and three-toed. So the baby ones here are raised very, very differently than most other sloths. These ones are raised to be ambassador animals, meaning that they are people-oriented from birth forward. The guy who raises these is a doctor of veterinary medicine who's been doing it for about 30 years now. And his babies are born obviously on day 1. They start eating solid food on day 3, and on day 12 they start being held by people every single day. And so, but they always go straight back to mama. So even though they are being held by people every day, they're held for like 30 seconds, and 45 seconds, then a minute, so on and so forth.
Oh, I see.
Until by the time their mother has weaned them, they're being held for 30, 45 minutes at a time, a couple times a day. But they always go straight back to mom. So they get all the social nutritional benefit of being a mother-raised animal, but all the social benefit of being a people-raised animal. So they are oriented to people right from the start. So this is why we try to not do necklaces, is he's got a hold of your necklace and then it'll break. There you go. So our next baby sloth already was bought and paid for before she did not pass the ambassador protocol, which is to genuinely enjoy being held by people all the time. So now we're waiting for the next one. And so we have here Flash and Dash and Chloe. So he eats a little and then takes a break, and then eats a little and takes a break. So
and he's 7 months old?
he is between 8 and 9 months old.
Oh, okay.
When
And
he
he's
came
still
here,
with his mama?
say what?
He's still with his mama?
No, their mothers wean them at around 4 months. Can be as early as 3, can be as late as 6. And for a two-fingered, for a three-fingered, their mothers wean them around a year. Can be as long as 2. And but all of our sloths come here after their mother weans them at her own choosing. No rush on it. They come when they come. And so the mother animals are all accustomed to it, and so it doesn't stress the mothers, and therefore it doesn't stress the babies. And the guy who breeds these has been doing it for about 30 years now. And his generation 0 of sloths were animals that couldn't be returned to the rainforest due to injury, or like missing a limb from a power line or something. So none of our animals, and nothing in his entire colony of animals, has ever been taken from the rainforest. They could have stayed in there. I mean, they came as injured animals. And then his ambassador, he doesn't even start to consider him for ambassador until they're like 4 or 5 generations out from the rainforest. And then he views himself as like a seed bank for sloths. He has a whole lot of sloths. And sloths don't like to be scratched, only stroked. So he has a very large population of sloths that if sloths became extinct in the wild, he would still have sloths. So there would still be sloths in the world. Which that's what happened with rhinos. They became extinct in the wild, and then they assembled some out of the zoos to put some back into Kenya.
Right.
Once they had armed guards and trucks and machine guns to keep the rhinos from getting poached.
Right. Well, when we was in Costa Rica, there's like, if you see one crossing the road, you know, they hold up traffic. And there's like, you can't go put them back where they were coming from. You have to take them where they were going.
Yeah.
And they've got walkways across the roads. Some villages where they cross over the road on this little
Ropes.
Yeah.
We're starting to put those underneath the power lines too, a rope
Right.
below a power line, so they'll walk on the rope, not on the power line.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously if they're hanging on one power line, that's fine. But when they go from power line to power pole, that's when you get fried sloth.
Mm-hmm.
And the government of Costa Rica is working very hard against sloth encounters because they say that a sloth that's taken from the rainforest and put into an encounter will have an average lifespan of 2 months. It's just too stressful for them. It's too much of a change for them.
Right.
They just can't transition like that.
Right.
And that's why all of our sloths here are ethically raised, many generations removed from the rainforest. And ours genuinely enjoy being with people.
Mm-hmm.
There are other sloth encounters you could go to. You would find that they pull the sloth's teeth and they book their sloths 8 and 10 hours a day. Ours have a total of 2 hours of encounters per day per sloth. And they have a 3-hour break between their AM encounters and their PM encounters. So they get lots of time to rest and relax and be a sloth. And we're also extremely guarded not only of the time but the number of people. That's why we do 1 or 2 people at a time. We don't have a gaggle of people. We just hand the sloth person to person to person. It's just not good for a sloth. And I also always, when I'm on a live like I am right now, I think I'm on live. I assume I am since there's cameras sitting there. He's like a puppy. He's exploring his world with his mouth. You gotta keep an eye on him. So I always do a disclaimer anytime I'm on a live to say, please don't look at what we're doing here and think it's a good idea to buy a sloth. It is positively not. There is a whole lot that goes into keeping a sloth alive, healthy, and happy. And the sloths that we have here are many generations captive bred. Generationally, they are further removed from the rainforest than I am from the American Revolution. And there is no reputable breeder of sloths who will sell a sloth to the member of the general public. It's just too hard to keep them alive, healthy, and happy. And so if you find a sloth that is for sale on the internet, you are absolutely buying an animal that was taken from the wild. And similar to your house cat, if you have your house cat, it will sit in your lap and purr while you pet it. If you go take a feral cat out of the woods and hold that in your lap, see how that works out for you. Won't go well for you or the cat. If you get a wild animal that was taken from the rainforest, it is going to go like a wild animal goes. And the sloths taken from the rainforest, according to slothconservation.org or slothconservancy.net or the government of Costa Rica, they say they will live about 2 months. And so if you see a sloth that's for sale on the internet, it was absolutely taken from the wild. And everyone who sells them on the internet will claim that they're captive bred. But if you challenge them to produce the parents, they will not speak to you anymore, which is best. But yeah, please don't buy a sloth off the internet.
I can't imagine anybody wanting to buy.
And as far as, lots of people would like to. And as far as going to a sloth encounter, please look before you book. If you see a place that's booking sloth for 8 and 10 hours a day, that is about the love of money, not about the love of sloths. Please don't participate in those.
I had a friend who came down here, and I thought, I'm like, oh my goodness.
When was your friend here?
Probably a month or so ago.
Yeah, which sloth or sloths did she see?
I think she saw Flash and Zoe.
Yeah, so that's the
She
sloth
did do
encounter
the
with the
cuddle.
VIP upgrade.
Yeah. Now, how old is Zoe?
Zoe is 16 months.
Oh,
Her birth, she might be 17 now. Her birthday is December 16th, so let's see, January 16, February 16, March 16, April 16. Yes, she is now 17 months.
oh, okay.
So our baby sloths start to transition down here when they're a full year old. Before they're a year old, they ride down here with me, like you saw me get out of the truck with him. And they stay down here just for their encounter time, and then they go back to the house. And then when they turn a year, then they start to transition down here. But their transitions down here is really slow. So, you know, they start out staying an extra hour after their encounter, and they build up until eventually, over the course of 4 or 5 months, they'll start to live down here.
Okay.
But we don't do anything with a sloth fast.
Yeah. He knows your voice.
They all know my sound, they all know my smell, but a sloth's vision is horrible.
Oh,
So they have a structure to their eyes called rod monochromacy, meaning they have all rod cells, no cone cells. If they see motion, they detect that well, but they don't see particular objects well at all.
oh, wow.
If you've seen the movies where they show the point of view from the Navy SEALs or the Army guys that are looking through the night vision goggles, you see that they see moving blobs everywhere.
Right.
That's what a sloth sees. Like they're looking through night vision goggles all the time.
Oh, wow.
So their eyes are designed to pick up motion well, but they don't see particularly objects very well at all. But anything that's moving toward a sloth is bad news for the sloth. So the sloth's instinct is end of the branch, get to the end of the branch. Then when he gets out to the end of the branch, he weighs like 15 pounds, and the branch is gonna down under him. And a cat large enough to threaten his life is gonna weigh 50 plus pounds. So the cat can't go all the way to the end of the branch, and certainly can't reach down a drooping down branch to grab the sloth.
20 sloth people are up here. Do you want me to send them down?
Yeah, tell him we'll meet him in the pavilion in 5 minutes.
Oh, you were so
So the
Your radio was like squeaking, so I didn't hear any of that.
send them to the pavilion. We'll see him in 5 minutes.
Yeah, send them down.
Don't I send more chat?
So the sloth will get to the end of the branch, and the branch won't support the weight of a cat large enough to threaten his life. But if the cat pressed the issue to the point that the branch broke and they both fell 100 feet to the floor of the rainforest, the sloth would almost certainly survive, and the cat would almost certainly not. And the sloth would look over the cat and he'd say, ha, ha, and back up the tree he goes. And the cat will not be going back up the tree.
You are so cute.
They also are basically entirely safe from other things that would like to hunt them, because a snake can't find a sloth. A sloth does not maintain its body temperature, so the sloth's core body temperature is what the outside surrounding air is. So the snakes hunt by smell and by hearing. A sloth has no natural smell. They have no scent gland, no musk gland, no sweat gland, so they genuinely have no smell. Hey, Dash. So if a snake were to find a sloth, it would be nothing but pure blind coincidence.
Oh, wow.
And the animal that can get to it in the top of the tree is an eagle. The eagle doesn't rely on heat or smell or the branch to support it. So an eagle can get to a sloth, but then the sloth is covered up with moss and algae. And the moths that live in the sloth's fur fertilize that moss and algae via their waste. So more moss, more algae, more disgust from eagles. So in the tops of the trees, the sloth is basically entirely safe.
Right. And what's the difference, like in the dark colored, most of the ones I've seen, like in Costa Rica, where it had like
A mask.
yeah.
So the three-fingered sloth has like a mask across their eyes
Okay.
and a splatter face.
Right.
The two-fingered have a darker face with no real pattern on their face. They have more like a snout. And there are almost no three-fingered ones in the continental U.S. because three-fingered sloths eat almost exclusively sarcopia leaves, and sarcopia trees do not grow in the continental U.S. So it would be crazy expensive to feed a 3-fingered sloth in the States because you would have to be importing the leaves all the time. Similarly, if you're seeking a license to keep a koala, they tell you need to budget $600,000 a year to feed 1 to 4 koalas because you're essentially chartering a jet to fly back and forth and get fresh eucalyptus leaves every other day forever. Because eucalyptus leaves also, eucalyptus trees do not grow in the continental US, so you are going to where the eucalyptus trees are to get leaves to feed your koala bears.
Not sustainable.
Only for a very, very large zoo. And even most of those have someone with extremely deep pockets behind them who's,
Right.
funding the koala bear experience. And we don't have anybody behind us.
He does look like he enjoys it. Do you think he does?
Yeah, they genuinely do. When I go to put him down, he'll go, which means, no, hold me, hold me, hold me. And he will go back up to the house and he will snuggle with Donna for the next couple of hours. Downside of being Donna is that she is always on the phone and the computer eternally all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The upside is she basically always is holding a sloth.
Mm-hmm. You are.
But it does mean that she can't come down here and do the encounters
Mm-hmm.
because if she's in the room, the sloths want nothing but Donna.
Oh, they're spoiled. They're spoiled.
They just want mom.
They're spoiled. And here's your voice. So cute. So cute. Well, when I was in Costa Rica, we were at this sanctuary and they saw one deliver a baby like the night before, but we couldn't find it. They were probably hiding somewhere.
Costa Rica is working really hard against the encounters. Not necessarily the sanctuaries, but the encounters.
Yeah.
Because if you live there and the average annual salary is $5,000, and you can go and snatch a sloth out of the rainforest, dip it in a bucket of bleach, set up a roadside blank stand, and a cruise ship pulls in and disgorges 6,000 people. If you can get 1 in 10 to come and give you $20 to pet your sloth, you just made more than your annual salary. And what do you care that the sloth will not survive at all? I mean, they will not survive that. And I myself went to one, thought it was cute and wonderful and lovely and awesome, and only later through education did I learn those sloths have a very short lifespan because they're so stressed by it. Which is part of why we wanted to set up our own sloth encounter, to have ethically treated, ethically sourced sloths that are handled according to their needs, not according to my financial goals.
Right. Do you bathe them?
Never.
Never.
Sloths bathe themselves.
Oh wow.
They like to go out in the rain,
Uh-huh.
and they have a rainforest misting system in their room. If they want to take a bath, they crawl over into the rain,
Oh, okay.
and then they groom themselves, just licking themselves.
Right.
Grab our next group,
Okay.
next person, I guess, I don't know.
They just did the sanitizer.
Excellent. Are they back to back? Hey, y'all. You guys have 2 back to back? Yeah. All right, great. So you both go for the whole time. Come on in. Where are you guys in from today?
She's from California.
Yeah, where about?
San Diego.
Okay. Where are you from?
And then I'm originally from California, but I live in Maryville.
Oh, cool. I almost lived in Maryville myself. When I bought this place, I was looking at a house in Maryville.
Oh, you have to
All
go.
right, Dash, come here, baby boy.
You have to go.
Good baby. What did you think of Dash?
I love Josh.
Yeah? Do you have more encounters on the farm today?
No.
No?
That's all I
Excellent.
wanted to do was just
Well,
that.
That's one of the premier events here.
Yes.
All right, you had your fun. Did you set down any jewelry or?
No, I didn't know.
All right.
Well, bye, sweet thing. You are so precious.
If
Okay.
you do Google reviews, we'd love for you to give us one if you get a chance.
I will.
All right, thanks a lot. Let me grab you ladies a second chair.
Yeah. Y'all have fun.
I'm so thank you. I feel like I'm like on the first date. That's was like, I want to do it together. It's not gonna be, I'm alive.
Here you go. This is Dash. Dash is a two-fingered Linnaeus sloth. You're gonna want to either take your necklace off or tuck it inside. Who's first? So Dash loves to hang around your neck. He likes to be petted. There you go. Dash is like a puppy. He can be mouthy, so if he starts to put his mouth on you, just turn your hand away from him or turn your face away from him.
Okay.
And they like to be stroked more than they like to be scratched. So Dash is a two-fingered Linnaeus sloth. Almost every sloth you see in the continental U.S. is going to be a two-fingered sloth because three-fingered sloths eat nothing but sarcopia leaves, and sarcopia growths do not grow in the U.S. Differences between them: the three-fingered sloths have a flatter face with the mask on their face, and they have a long neck. They turn their head 270 around like an owl like that.
Yeah.
Two-fingered sloths, the vertebra missing from the neck. Three-fingered has 9, and two-fingered has 5. And three-fingered has 3 vertebrae of a tail, and two-fingered has no tail. So the 4 missing from the neck and the 3 missing from the tail are all between the hips and shoulders of a two-fingered sloth. So the two-fingered turns his whole body. If this is shoulders and this is hips, they can turn until their hips and shoulders are 180 out from each other.
He's so soft. So
Yeah,
how
he's
old
softer
is
than
this
you
one?
think, right?
Yeah, I wasn't.
He is 8 or 9 months. He came here when he was like 4.5 months. He weighed 1.4 pounds when he came here. He currently weighs 4 pounds. Adult size form is 15 pounds, give or take.
Oh my
So you're on college break, visiting during the summer.
Just took a few days off of work. It's her daughter's first birthday.
Oh,
so
nice.
they're doing a party tomorrow.
Cool.
So came to visit, and then we saw this, and it's like been my life.
Yeah, I just
dream.
found out
So-
about this place like last month, and since I knew she was coming, she loves sloths, and so I was like, we have to do this.
Yeah, yeah. Did you see us on TikTok or Facebook? Or,
TikTok.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mhm.
We were just talking about that when we came in, like, what we thought
Yeah, I
the fur
didn't
would
know
be
like
like.
Feel his feet, they feel exactly like monkey feet. The other side of his feet.
Oh my gosh. Your little mouth.
So sloths see very poorly, they hear and smell very well. They have a structure to their eyes called rod monochromacy, meaning all rod cells, no cone cells. They see motion well, but they see objects poorly. So that sloth can't see the difference between me and either one of you. But he knows what I sound like and he knows what I smell like.
Yeah.
This guy is an ambassador sloth, meaning that from birth forward he was raised to be a people-loving sloth. The guy who raises these is a doctor of veterinary medicine who's been doing this for about 30 years now. All of his original sloths are sloths that were rescued after they were too injured to be returned to the rainforest. And all of the sloths that are ambassador sloths are at least 4 or 5 generations removed from the wild. Dash is more like 11 generations. So generationally, they are further removed from the rainforest than I am from the American Revolution. And they are oriented to people starting from day 12 of their life. They always go back to their mother, so the mothers are accustomed to it. So the baby is taken from the mama and held by a person, starting at the beginning for 30 seconds and 45 seconds, then a minute, so on and so forth, until by the time that the mother weans the sloth of her own choosing, the sloth is being held by humans for 30, 45 minutes at a time, a couple times a day, different people. so they can be accustomed to and enjoy the company of people. But they are still mother-raised animals because they are always returned straight back to mom. So they get all the social and nutritional benefit of being a mother-raised animal while getting all the social benefit of being a people-raised animal, so that they can enjoy being held by people for all of their lives. And if your friends are watching, we're live on TikTok. Let me tell you what the account is, because I don't know what we're on right now. We are on TikTok on Ocoee Riverside Farm. So if any of your friends wanted to see live, that's where we are right now. And you are welcome to take all the pictures and all the videos you would like. Not one of these crazies that charges you for a photo. So you take a few days off work, what do you do out there?
I'm a hairstylist.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of my daughters is a hairstylist. She does biolage.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love it. I think it's so fun.
Yeah, me and Kevin do not see hairstylists very often, as you can probably tell.
We need an endorsement or sponsorship by a salon, don't we?
Yeah, well, the singing barber came out here and cut my hair in this room one time.
Really?
Yeah, have you ever seen American Idol? He was a contestant on American Idol, and he lives a couple miles from here. So during his American Idol run, the singing barber came over and gave me a haircut live while Flash was hanging above me. He was saying Flash, the big sloth in that room, was his assistant, and Flash is like all digging his hands through my hair and stuff. And you know, the barber sings and gives a haircut. And so that was pretty cool. We can let her be the next singing barber, stand here and give me a haircut.
There you go.
But the only pair of scissors I got is this one right here, so it might be more of a challenge than you would imagine.
Might be a little
I was gonna let you know we're on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I'm on camera sitting over here.
You're just out of the shot.
Yeah, I was thinking I was hiding out over here.
You are.
I went to cosmetology school when I was in high school.
You did?
I was about to get expelled, and so I came up with a genius plan that if I transferred to OTEC, different district, before my date to go in front of the board. And so I was like, auto mechanics, no. Business computing, no. Business machines, no. And on down the list, and I get to cosmetology, and I'm, 350 girls, one boy, what could go wrong? And it was a different world back then. You know, I am 56 years old, so that was 1984.
Yeah.
And sadly, my family moved away, so I never finished cosmetology school.
Yeah.
But I still remember that I was sitting there in that miserable class, and I mean, the work wasn't bad, but the listening to the lectures was just painful.
Learning about sanitation.
Yeah, right. And the teacher was this very, very large woman, and she used to sit and paint her nails, which were like dragon lady nails like this, and she would strip them and paint them 4 or 5 times a day, all day long, just sitting there and painting her nails over and over and over again, and talking about roll and set. And I remember the one time they were talking about doing 1-inch squares to put conditioner on people's hair. I'm like, why the heck do you not just squirt the bottle on their head and rub it around? Like, because nobody would pay you $50 to do that. It's about the service. I'm like, oh, check, got it. All right.
So are sloths nocturnal?
Yes and no. They are round-the-clock animals. In the daytime, their sleep-wake pattern is like 2 hours of sleep and an hour or 2 of awake. And then at night, their sleep-rest pattern is like 3 hours of sleep and an hour or so awake. So they don't ever sleep like 8 or 10 hours in a row the way that people do. They like sleep and wake, sleep and wake, sleep and wake. And that's why we schedule them the way that we do. Our sloths only see 2 hours of encounters per day, max of 2 people at a time, because we're extremely guarded of the sloth's time, because stress is a huge thing for a sloth. So they do 1 hour in the AM, 1 hour in the PM. He actually is both PM. He does from 12 to 1 and from 4 to 5. But hey, all of them get a 3-hour break in between their morning session and their afternoon session, so they get plenty of time to rest and relax and be a sloth.
That's
And there are other encounters that they book their sloths for 8 and 10 hours a day. Those sloths are in it for the short haul because it's far too much stress for them. But a captive bred, ethically treated sloth like these, that it's about the love of sloths, not about the love of money. These guys can live 50 years. And according to the government of Costa Rica or slothconservation.org or whatever, some of those organizations, they will tell you that a sloth that is taken from the rainforest only has an average lifespan of about a month or 2. And these guys will last 50 years, but we treat them very well, and we love our sloths. This guy still lives in the house. He comes down only for his encounters.
How many sloths do you have?
Currently 3. Our next one is bought and paid for, but the ambassador protocol of raising the sloths is the sloth has to genuinely enjoy being with people. And the next one that we had coming to us didn't seem to genuinely enjoy it, so she is going to a different type of encounter, and we will be waiting for the next one to see if it makes ambassador or not. Because our ambassador sloths that sit in your lap and you hold them and snuggle them, they actually do enjoy it, or we wouldn't be doing this with them.
Yeah.
All of our animals do it according to what they are comfortable with, not what I wish they would do. So like the big guy that's in the room right there, he was not raised for ambassador sloth. He was raised just to be in a static display. So his encounter was almost 2 years in the making. You can make an animal eat out of your hand, just don't feed it. They'll have to eventually. But in my opinion, that would make an adversarial relationship. So his is being trained to eat it from my hand, as his dish is on the other side of that little window right there. You can see it. Take food out of his dish and offer it to him. And if he doesn't want it, back in the dish. He's going to get the food either way. He doesn't have to eat from my hand to be fed. And so it was almost a year till he would consistently bypass his dish to eat from my hand. And it was another number of months till he wanted to eat from other people's hand. And now he loves his encounters. He only does 1 hour encounters a day, not 2, because he wasn't really oriented to it from birth. He doesn't like it as much as the other ones do, so he only does 2 encounters a day. And to date, I am his person. I have been at least an hour a day with him. I think I've missed 20 days in 4 years, and I have never held that sloth because it's his choice, not mine. He has every opportunity to move on to my body if he wanted to, but he has never seemed to want to, so he's never been held. And that's okay because it's up to him. And all of our sloths, if they're having a day that they just don't feel like doing an encounter, it's okay. I got more sloths.
Yeah.
No harm, no repercussion to the sloth. The food he would have gotten during his encounter just goes in his dish.
So how old is that one?
He's 6.
Okay.
And Zoe that's in that room is 16 months. Dash is between 8 and 9. So she does hair. What do you do? Is it hair, makeup? What is it?
I just do hair, like color and cuts. Yeah.
And what do you do?
I don't work. I just
Awesome.
stay home with my kids.
Awesome. What's your husband do?
He works for the railroad.
Oh, that's a good job. A lot of travel, but it's a good job.
Yeah, he did like it, but I don't think he likes it too much anymore.
Misses the kids too much.
Or
misses their mom too much, right?
Yeah. His work also slowed down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think because he goes to Knoxville.
Right.
And that area, I guess, has slowed down a little bit, so he's not working as much, but also just like the schedule, because he's on call 24/7.
Right.
He doesn't really like that. Never knows when he's going to get called in. So.
I was in the Navy for a long time, and that could be a pretty rough gig when you're a family man.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent roughly 5 years of my life at sea.
My grandpa was in the Navy.
Yeah. When he yawns, it's super cute. So sloths are meant to have, hang on, thinking about it. So when they are hanging in a tree like this, they are completely relaxed. So if you were trying to hang on that bar, a minute would be a long time to do a 2-arm hang, right? But the sloth can hang there for days. And that's because they're set up differently. So they have really tight tendons in their hand and in their forearm. So clamp down like that, that's their relaxed state. So the way he's like grabbed onto your shirt there, that is his completely relaxed state. He has to focus to open his hand. So for us, this is our exertion state, this is our relaxed state. He's the opposite. This, clamp down tight like that, that's relaxed. And this is exerting energy. So if the sloth's life ended while hanging in the tree, he would not necessarily fall. He could just continue to hang there because that is exerting no energy. The sloth has connective tissue. Did I show you a picture of a skeleton of a sloth? So the sloth has 46 ribs, 23 sets of ribs. He's basically built like a truck. And he has connective tissue that goes all between his ribs and through his body cavity. And that keeps his organs positioned in orientation exactly where they should be, no matter what his body position is. So, see how many ribs he got?
Oh my god.
And if you look at a sloth, if a scientist found the skeleton of this animal and didn't know what it was, look at the teeth on an adult.
Oh, wow.
And the claws.
Yeah. Wow.
And their arms are longer than their whole body, and their legs are longer than their arms. But then a 3-fingered sloth is a different animal entirely. So a 3-fingered sloth has a much longer neck, and it has a tail, and has far fewer vertebrae between hips and shoulders and far fewer ribs. So the sloth has the connective tissue going all back and forth between them. And then a couple other things about sloths. So we're about halfway through our timer if you wanted to switch. Did you get your good pictures? Did you check the camera? All right. Here we go, baby boy. See, he has to focus to let go because clamp down is his relaxed state. Here we go, buddy. What's your next friend? Not meaning to touch you, I just have to move the sloth. So, the sloth is his position in the food chain is he's eating the leaves at the ends of the trees that nothing else really eats. But leaves are very low in nutritional value, very low calorie content. So he eats a tremendous amount of them. A sloth eats 10% of its body weight every single day. So put that to human perspective, I weigh about 180. So that's me rolling into Outback and saying, bring me 18 of the 16-ounce porterhouse steaks. And I'm gonna plow those all down. Or if I swung through the Golden Arches and said, bring me 70 or 80 of those quarter pounders, that's what I'm gonna eat today, and every day. So the sloth eats a tremendous amount of food, but it's very low in caloric content, very low in nutritional value. And consequently, the sloth's energy budget is extremely low. So low, in fact, that a sloth cannot maintain its body temperature. His core body temperature is whatever the outside air temperature is. So his nighttime core body temperature in the wild could be 19 degrees lower than his daytime core body temperature. Human perspective, our normal is 98.6. That would be me going all the way down to 80 degrees every night. So obviously humans can't do that. The sloth only makes milk for its babies for about 3 to 6 weeks maximum. Most mammals produce, store, deliver milk for their young. The sloth has no store. It produces and delivers at the same time. So as the baby nurses, the mama makes milk drop by drop as the baby eats it. They do not have the energy budget to store extra milk that isn't needed immediately at that time. The sloth, while they're eating a tremendous amount of food, they go to the bathroom only once in 7 to 10 days, 3 or 4 times a month. That's all that they go.
gosh.
And when they do, they eliminate 1/3 of their total body mass. So again, human perspective, I'm 180. So that means I start from 180 and I eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And then I eat some more and then I eat until I get to about 240 and then boom, all the way back to 180 in 2 or 3 minutes. So dropping off a bag of dog food in a 5-gallon bucket all at one shot, right? When the sloth is in the top of the tree, he's safe. The snakes cannot find a sloth. Snakes hunt by smell and by temperature. Sloth has no natural smell. It has no musk gland, sweat gland, scent gland, none of that. So a sloth doesn't smell like anything. And it has no temperature outside of what the air temperature is. So a snake literally cannot find a sloth. If it found a sloth, it would be pure coincidence. A cat cannot reach a sloth. The sloth, with the eyes that sense motion, gets all the way to the end of the branch, and then the branch is like boing down under the weight of the sloth. Well, the sloth weighs max of about 15 pounds. A cat large enough to threaten his life is going to weigh more like 50. So the sloth is hanging down under the branch like this. The cat's trying to walk along the top. I mean, obviously that's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
If the cat pressed the issue to the point that the branch broke and they both fell 100 feet from the rainforest canopy to the floor, the sloth will almost certainly survive and the cat will almost certainly not. So the sloth will look over at the cat and he'll say, ha, ha, and back up he goes. The one animal that can get to a sloth on the top of the tree is an eagle. An eagle doesn't rely on scent, it doesn't rely on temperature, it doesn't rely on the branch to support its weight. So an eagle can get to a sloth. So the sloth needs camouflage for the eagles. So when the sloth does eventually go to the bathroom, even though he's safe in the top of the tree, he comes all the way down the tree, same side of the tree, and goes to the bathroom in the exact same place that he always goes. The reason for that is the sloth, and you're not nailed to this chair, you can move around. If you get a better picture from standing behind or wherever you want to be.
He's sticking
The chair is for your comfort, not a prison. So the sloth comes all the way down the tree, same side of the tree, and goes to the bathroom on the same pile he always goes on, and that is because of the sloth-moth symbiotic relationship. So in the wild, not here, praise the Lord, in the wild, sloths need moths and moths need sloths. There is a type of moth in the world called a sloth moth that lives nowhere in the world except in the fur and in the waste pile of a sloth. When the sloth comes down the tree, the moths, which there can be 100 to 150 moths living in his fur all the time, the moths fly down into the waste pile, lay their eggs, and back to the sloth as fast as they can. Because the sloth is only going to be down there for 2 or 3 minutes, do his business, and scurry back up the tree. So the moths lay their eggs in the waste pile, and from there it's row your boat. So this week's eggs are next week's larvae or the following week's moths. And then it's, every time that he comes down the tree, it's new stuff in the sloth life cycle, moth life cycle, and there are always new moths to fly up onto the sloth. The benefit to the moths is that the sloth is the food source and the living environment of the moths. The moths are feeding on the moss and algae that grow all in the sloth's fur, and they are then fertilizing that moss and algae via their waste. So more moss, more algae means more camouflage for the sloth. So that's good for the sloth. Second, the sloth, as it grooms himself, he is licking up a certain amount of the waste of the moths. The waste of the moths is where the sloth gets his bacteria colony that digests his food. So the third thing is that as the sloth grooms himself, he licks up a certain amount of the moths themselves. The moths themselves are the sloth's protein source. In captivity, they don't need the moths. First, nothing is hunting them. They don't need the camouflage. Second, we give them hard-boiled eggs. They don't need the protein. Third, for us, we have helpful gut bacteria, right? You've got young children. If they get too much sugar, they can get thrush, right? That's when there's too much bacteria in their stomach. But normally, we never have to give a second thought to our gut bacteria. What interrupts our gut bacteria colony is antibiotics. If you take a lot of antibiotics, you need probiotics or Greek yogurt. These guys live in the rainforest. They haven't ever heard of Publix. They don't know where GNC is. They're not going to get probiotics or Greek yogurt. So the sloth, the source of their replacement bacteria is the waste of the moths. It is a proven fact that in the wild, if a sloth's moth colony fails to survive, the sloth will perish of starvation a month later. Not for lack of food, but for lack of ability to digest the food. In captivity, he doesn't need that because what messes up our gut bacteria is antibiotics. What would mess up his is cold temperature. We never ever let a sloth get cold, and the sloth will be fine for all of its life. So thankfully, since there are 100 to 150 moths living in their fur all the time in the wild, that would make it rough to hold and pet one, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we're glad that they don't need them here. It's funny, he always has just the tip of his tongue sticking out almost all the time. Sloths have little tiny ears. Well, he's tiny, has tiny ears because he's tiny. But his ears are right here.
Oh my gosh.
See, he's got ears just like us, proportional to the size of his head. His ears are as big as ours. Because his vision is horrible, his sense of hearing and his sense of smell are wonderful. So, for better or worse, the sloths know what I smell like. And my monotone voice, man, that'd be great for a camera, but the sloths love it. So when I open the door and I say, "Hey, Flash," he just comes scurrying right down and he's ready to roll. And when we open her door and say, "Zoe, come here, baby," she crawls up out of her hammock and comes right over to us. And you see,
He's already talking.
he
to
knows
me.
his name. I haven't said his name, but I say, "Hey, Dash. Hey, Dash." No, he's like, "No, I got this girl. I'm good."
His arm was like slowly falling down.
I can't believe how soft they are.
I know, I didn't think that they would be this soft.
So you said kids. How many kids?
Just two.
2. Cool.
One of them, they're here. We did the mini new petting zoo.
Oh, cool. I bet they enjoyed that.
One of them is about to turn a year old on Sunday, and then the other one's almost 5.
Oh, nice.
Boy and a girl.
I wouldn't have pegged you to have a 5-year-old. How long have you been in Tennessee?
I think since 2022.
Oh, cool. I moved here in 2019. I've lived in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Pennsylvania, North South Carolina, Florida, Alabama, 20 years in Virginia while I was in the Navy, and now here. And then I lived in an RV for a year and a half, and me and my wife and kids just knocked around the country in the big bus kind. And so out there where you are, San Diego, we drove all the way up US 1.
Yeah.
Have you driven 1 all the way up to
Yeah.
Washington State?
We went. We didn't stop. Probably really close to it.
So my favorite things to see going up US 1, of course, are the tall trees grow with the sequoias.
Yes.
And my 2 favorite places to go right on the beach, both are well off the beaten track, and you might need a 4-wheel drive to get there. But there's one that is a gravel beach that when the wave comes in, it like, whoa, and throws like massive tons of rock up onto the beach, and then it's like, whoa,
That's
as they all go back. You say what?
Right by where I live, there's like a little area. Cause I'm in Oceanside,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a little area that's like called the Bowl, and it has all the gravel rocks, and they make the same thing, but it's so relaxing.
Yeah, it's like they've all been in a rock polisher for 5,000 years, because they have.
Yeah.
And yeah, I go to Oceanside Pier in California. I have a
I love
timeshare at Oceanside Pier.
Oh really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live right by the pier.
Oh, cool. Tell them to put some parking garages down there.
They got rid
Lord.
of them.
Say what?
They got rid of them.
Yeah, because they can get more money for hotels than they can. Yeah. That's my least favorite thing about the Oceanside Pier area is there is nowhere at all to park.
I know.
And but anyway, then right near where the gravelly rock beach is, there's another one that has all these starfish that are like this big,
Oh, I love
and they are like highlighter colored, like
Yeah.
red and yellow and blue and like lime green and orange and really
Don't
cool.
forget, there's fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, and cookies at the house for anybody that wants it during their lunch break.
I hear you. I assume other people hear you too, but I don't know.
We lived in North Carolina for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Railroad.
Yeah, we moved out here because the railroad. He worked for Signature Flight, something. He worked at the airport, like more like the private airplanes
Mm.
in North Carolina, so he would see a lot of famous people.
Friend of mine built the load and motion port in San Francisco. No, Los Angeles. So he designed all the cranes. But now the probably more interesting to your railroad husband than you, but anyway, it used to be that you had to start and stop the train every 2 cars while they unload the container ships with the cranes. Now it's on a jacking gear and the train never stops moving. So it moves at like 1/4 of a mile an hour the whole time, so it never has to start, stops. Because that takes a tremendous amount of energy and friction to start and stop a train. And the cranes are all automated and they grab 4 boxes at a time. So they go wah, 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 and load the train as it goes. And it reduced the time to unload a 6,000 container ship from 3 days to 4 hours. So they can unload an entire 6,000 container ship in 4 hours. And then the trains all take it out of the immediate port area, and then it goes to where it loads onto trucks, and then goes out from there. Now they have RFIDs on like everything in every box in every container, and to stop theft, when the containers go onto the trucks, the drivers don't know what's in them. So if you're like a truck driver that's interested in, stealing your own load, you don't know what's in it. So how do you know if you're stealing a load of computers or a load of toilet paper,
Yeah.
And then those RFIDs, like everything within like 75 miles of Los Angeles, there's RFID readers all over the freeways everywhere out there. So it's inventorying every truck as it goes everywhere. And there's a central computer system that knows where every piece on every truck is within, I think, 75 miles of LA. And if the truck gets more than 1.5 miles off of course for more than 2 minutes, the LA Port Authority police are out there finding that truck before it's gone. They shrink is what they refer to when stuff is stolen from within. And they cut their shrink from like 15% to like 1/3 of 1%.
Oh my gosh, I bet. So relaxing.
There is a calm involved with holding a sloth, but we find that most people just kind of.
Yeah, it's so.
And the less I talk, the better it is probably. Some
No.
people have suggested maybe I should just leave the room and shut up.
It's like a stress relief.
Kevin's a social media guy, keeps saying we need to put a heart rate monitor on somebody before they hold the sloth, but the problem is that when somebody knows that they're being monitored, it directly affects the outcome, so.
I believe it. Before we came in here, I was like, I feel like I'm going into an interview.
Oh yeah, then I'm all asking you about your life like it's any of my business, right? He's a pretty chill animal.
Mhm.
Makes me want to take a nap.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a little eyes. Your face. I know.
It doesn't even feel real, like,
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
Especially because he's so like,
He's so
because they're so chill and slow.
And his heart beats so slow that you don't really notice or feel it. Every single thing about a sloth is slow. To go see what time my next encounter is. I'll be back in a minute.
He's like, where are you going? He's gonna come back. Hello. 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 He's like stabbing me over here with his
I know.
fucking hand.
Oh. I don't want a picture of your mouth. Oh. Yeah. This is literally the best thing I've ever done in my life or paid for. I'm sorry. I still can't believe how soft he is, but I did it.
He's yawning, he's yawning, he's yawning, he's yawning. Did you see him? Look at his hand. He's yawning again. Look at his freaking hand. Look at his hand. He's yawning again. It reminded me of like a bat. So bad. What are you chewing on in there? Look at his hand.
How can you not love Sloth? Like,
Do you guys want me to get a couple pictures of the two of you together before we wrap up?
Yeah, sure.
Alright.
He's
like
trying
it's
to.
a video.
Hey, Dash. Oh, turn down. I don't
you.
have my glasses on.
Yeah, these are perfect.
Excellent.
That's perfect.
All right, baby Dash, you ready to take your break, buddy? Happy time for Dash. Y'all got other big plans while you're visiting? Birthday Sunday,
Yeah,
right?
that's just her birthday.
Yeah, and then I leave on Sunday.
Where are you flying out of?
Knoxville.
Where do you fly out of Knoxville?
What?
Where?
Oh,
Tyson McGee Airport.
Oh, okay. I've never used that airport.
it's really nice.
It's really small.
Yeah, I'm small.
Hey guys, if you're watching online, thanks for joining us. We probably will be back on around 2:30. Talk to you all in a while.